Blessings, blessings. Happy New Year, first of all. And I start again. His glory is my story. Happy New Year, YouTubers. How you doing? How you doing? Let's see. So when I left off yesterday, I said COVID was approaching. But before we get to that, let me back up a little bit because I was hospitalized in the middle of 2019, like May, somewhere up in there. This before they even knew what COVID was, and I knew that they didn't know what it was because the first hospital I went to, they called it pneumonia and sent me home. And it's crazy because and I get to the house and I stayed upstairs on the second floor, 12 stairs. It took me like 5 minutes to walk up 12 stairs. And not because of my size, it's because I couldn't breathe, like literally, thought I was about to die. So I went to another hospital and they kept me for about a week. So they didn't know what it was. I'm talking about this is literally right before COVID because they didn't know what to call it. They just called it pneumonia, but it was more than pneumonia because I had pneumonia once before that. No, that was the first time I ever had pneumonia. So, yeah. But yeah, I literally thought I was about to die. That's crazy. So, but yeah, thought I was about to die. So, let's see. Fast forward. COVID approaching. We're coming up on the end of 2019, around December. It's crazy. Christmas, well, my daughter's birthday first, then Christmas. I'm still working like crazy. 4 days after Christmas, my mom passed in 2019. You know, we had this Sunday ritual, me and my brother, we hop on the game and play some Call of Duty together, you know. And when he called, I assumed $1 million to go out of. But yeah, so yeah, I assumed he was just calling, you know, to do our normal little Sunday ritual when we hop on the game. But nah, it wasn't that. So 4 days after Christmas, mom passed. They still don't know nothing about this COVID thing. We're going to the new year. I fly home, me and my family. Take care of all that, deal with all that. I didn't even want to be an aircraft mechanic no more. I didn't even care. Like, I was done at that point. And literally was doing everything to be completely done because I wasn't studying no more. It's crazy that I think about that. But, yeah, so it was January. And then, mind you, February coming up. I lost my dad February 23rd, 12 years ago. This year, since it's 2025, it'll make 13 years. And this year, February 23rd. And so that's coming up. And then, hold on, let me back a little bit because right after I finished dealing with my mom's situation, I got a phone call middle of January from American Airlines about a job opportunity. Went and did everything almost in one day. Drug test, background check, interview. It was like at the end of January. So they gave me 5 options. They were like Philly, New York, LA, DC, Philly, LA, DC, Boston, or Charlotte. And because I was always flying out of Philly to Memphis, I was like, that's a direct flight. Why not? So I'm gonna hop on that Philly train. And this city of brotherly love, let's try it. Let's see what it's about. So boom, I picked Philly, and I ended up putting in my 2-week notice. Mind you, I told you about my dad died February 23rd, back in 2000. It was actually 2012, because my daughter born 2011, and she was 2 months old when it passed, yeah. So, but let's see, put in my 2-week notice around middle of February, so I can get ready to start at Philly at the beginning of March. I end up starting with American in Philly in March 16th, 2020. So they had this whole little itinerary, everything lined up, where the first week we were supposed to, well, the first 2 days, the first day, you would come to your station, and then you would spend the next 3 days at headquarters, which is Dallas, for like a onboard and welcome party or whatever. And then the last day, which is your Friday, you would come back to your station for the last day of that week. And then you can either stay in Philly or go home or whatever you're doing for the weekend, since it's the weekend, Saturday, Sunday, whatever. And mind you, I still got my apartment in Ohio at the time when I'm taking this job opportunity in Philadelphia. All right, my bad. I'm cooking out at the same time. So, but yeah, so mind you, I still got my apartment in Ohio. That's supposed to have been the first week of Philly, you know. But mind you, like I said, COVID is approaching. Here it is, March 2020 now. So they had it lined out. The first week, that's supposed to be the routine. The first day at your station, the next 3 days in Dallas for the welcome and onboarding party. And then your last day at your station, and then go home for the weekend. And then the next week, I believe they said you're supposed to have a week at your actual station, which was mine with Philly. And then after that, it's supposed to be 3 weeks at Charlotte for your training, your Gen Fams and all that. Gen Fam stands for General Familiarization. So if you hear me say Gen Fam, that's what I mean. But supposed to be for the Gen Fam. The next 3 weeks supposed to be in Charlotte. COVID is approaching. Keep that in mind. At this time, I'm still living in Ohio. My mom just passed back in Memphis. And I just took a job in Philly, so that means I got to try to find somewhere to stay again. But at this point, I'm doing a little better, So I figure, let's do it. So I searched around, and everything in Philly was trash. I ain't gonna lie. No disrespect to Philly, but the apartments around the airport and all that, terrible. Streets, terrible. For all the tolls they making, all that stuff, it should be a little better than that. So I end up talking with a couple of my coworkers who took that same Philly opportunity, and we all ended up in like Cherry Hill, New Jersey. Shout out Dre, shout out Hunter, you know what I'm talking about? Ended up in Cherry Hill, New Jersey, and some nice apartments. I ain't gonna lie, that was some of the nice apartments I ever stayed in my life. But mind you, at this time, COVID approaching. Wasn't sure what was gonna happen, so I didn't get a 3-bedroom or nothing like that. I ended up getting a 1-bedroom, and for that 1-bedroom, I ended up having to pay $1,575 for a 1-bedroom. Nice apartment though, don't get me wrong. $1,575 for a 1-bedroom in Cherry Hill, New Jersey. I think it was 15, maybe 20 minutes from the job. So 20 minutes from the job, paying the toll, $5 to go to work every night. That's crazy because you got to pay to get into Philly, but you don't have to pay to get out. So when I leave and go home, I don't have to pay, but when I come to work and come through that toll, I got to pay the $5, which is crazy. So okay, here we go. Found an apartment in Cherry Hill, New Jersey, but I can't move in till like the middle of April. I think it was like April 17th, somewhere in there. But it's the beginning of, well, it's the middle of March when I started. So I got my apartment in Ohio. Mom just passed in Memphis back in December. Found an apartment, but I can't move in until April. So COVID happened. We start. Everything just went haywire because for once they canceled all our training. Well, I ain't gonna say they canceled our training. They canceled our outings. Because the first one was supposed to be first day supposed to be at your station. The next 3 days at headquarters, Dallas, Texas, and then the last day was supposed to be at your station, and then the next week at your station, and then the next 3 weeks in Charlotte, North Carolina for Gen Fam. They canceled all that. So I go from my apartment in Ohio that I still had, I think I still had like 2 months left on the lease, to them putting us up in hotels for the 3 days in Dallas. Because originally all I would have had to do was get like a 1 day in Philly at a hotel, and then another day in Philly for a hotel, but they would have been paying for the rooms for the 3 days in Dallas, where they would put us up in the headquarters because they got something for the pilots, the mechanics, and the flight attendants at the headquarters, like a hotel or whatever they just finished. And then I would have paid for the next week in Philly for a hotel, and a rental because I didn't drive my car up yet or whatever. And they canceled all that. And they canceled our 3-week stay in Charlotte. It would have worked out perfect if everything would have went as according, like with the 1 day in Philly, 3 days in Dallas, and then 1 more day in Philly, and then the full week in Philly, then the 3 weeks in Charlotte. Would have worked out perfect with the hotels and all this and that. But since all that got canceled, now I had to pay for the first week in Philly and a rental because I didn't drive my car yet. Because of course, still gotta go through probation. And COVID happening, so don't know what they gonna do. And then I had to pay for the next week in Philly, hotel, and a rental car to get around. Because I still haven't drove my car yet from Ohio. And then by this time, we supposed to be getting ready to go to the Gen Fam. The 3 weeks in Charlotte. Cancel that. So here I am. 3 weeks. I had to go get a hotel for each week. I mean, I'm flying home on the weekend because I still got my apartment in Ohio. So I'm flying home on the weekends. I go to the Gen Fam, fly home on the weekend. At this time, I'm like, I gotta do something because I'm running through a whole lot of money. I'm paying my $857 on rent here. Thankfully, I only had 2 months left. I already put my deposit down on this apartment in Jersey, but I can't move in until the middle of April. And here I go, still going to these Gen Fams and all that. So I done spent 1 week in the rental. That's the first week. Next week, in the hotel in the rental. That's the second week. Third week, in the hotel in the rental. That's the next week. Next week, another hotel in a rental. That's the next week. And then one last week in a hotel and a rental, because mind you, I still haven't drove my car up yet because I didn't want to bring my car up yet because I knew I was going to load it down with most of my stuff that I can take to my apartment. and I get the rest according or whatever. But so them first 5 weeks, it was crazy, man. Cause like I'm paying rent in Ohio, all my bills. I'm paying for hotel rooms. I'm paying for rental cars because I still ain't drove my car up yet, and I still gotta eat all that stuff and try to make sure everybody's straight and all that good. And when I go home on the weekend, I'm trying to help out with homework and all that good stuff with my kids, trying to show my wife some love, take them out because they already feel like they ain't seeing me. It was just a lot, like a lot. That was one of the. That was a rough time. I ain't gonna lie, cause I think in that little 5 week span, I spent anywhere from. I think I probably spent about at least about 20,000, just from rent and hotels and rentals and eating and making sure this good. And mind you, I'm helping out back home with my mom's situation and the rent at her house. So and then on top of that, I had to pay my little deposit and all that in Jersey. So at this point, I'm almost paying for rent in like 4 different places because I got my rent in Ohio, my deposit and stuff that I had put down in Jersey, these hotels and rental cars that I'm paying for in Philly, and then helping out back at home in Memphis because my mom had just passed. And man, when I say it wasn't nothing but God, like, to just keep me going, because without him, I would have lost it, for real. I mean, got a few people to lean on, but a lot of people lean on me. So, but I ain't give up. Kept going, finally moved in my apartment. I think I drove my car up from Ohio to Philly. How about it was a Sunday? I never forget. I was like 2 hours into the drive. I was able to listen to my church back home in Memphis. On this 2 hour drive, I make the drive, get 2 hours into the drive, finish listening to church, and after church go off, I'm on cruising the control. You know what I'm talking about? And about, I think my alternator went out. Whew, boy, you talking about going through it. I was like, wow. And I ain't trying to do nothing but do right. So, when you trying to do right, that's when the devil just trying to come at you in every kind of way he can, you know what I'm saying? But I still didn't let it stop me though. So I just so happened to cruise it down while I coasted down enough to I saw a state trooper or something, and he was able to boost me off, and we took the red cable off. That's how you know it's the alternator, because it died as soon as we took the red cable off. But he was able to boost me off enough. I Googled the nearest AutoZone or whatever, and I charged it up enough and got enough juice to, I took off. I ain't care with the state trooper right there. Once I took it off the cables and all that, man, I took off to the nearest AutoZone so I can get an alternator or whatever. And right when I made it to the AutoZone parking lot, it died again. I didn't even care. I was in the lot. I had tools, and I had the money to buy the alternator, so I was thankful for that. So this in the middle of my trip, leaving Ohio, headed to Philly. So I get the alternator, put it on. Actually, some guy saw me working, and he stopped what he was doing and came and helped me. Shout out to him. I can't even remember his name. That's how long ago it was. But when you do right, right will follow you. And I mean that. So this just one of my downs, or up and a down, on my journey. And it ain't over yet, because like I can finally get the alternator on, and I continue my journey to Philly, because the apartment was closed. It was a Sunday, so of course I had a hotel for that night, and I was gonna check in and chill, and then get up and go to the apartment. The next day I gotta wait on them to call me to let me know it's okay for me to come pick up my key and all this stuff. So